Astonished JNR. My body, my choice. You can't make me do anything, Marcus said with anger in his voice as he walked away from me in our bedroom. Those words felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. I was standing there wearing the pretty pink pajamas I picked out for our 2-month wedding day celebration. 2 whole months. 2 months since we got married. And my husband had never even hugged me. My name is Sarah Mitchell and I'm 29 years old. I thought I found my prince when Marcus Thompson asked me to marry him last summer in Seattle, Washington. Our wedding was like a fairy tale. It happened at the beautiful Emerald Bay Hotel with all our family and friends watching. Everyone was so happy for us because they thought this was the start of my perfect love story. But now I was standing in our bedroom, looking at my husband who was pretending to be busy with his tablet. I knew something was very wrong. Marcus, we're husband and wife, I said quietly, almost whispering. I'm your wife. I just want to know why you won't. Even give me a hug or why you won't. Don't say another word, he said loudly, turning around to look at me. His blue eyes used to be kind and loving when we were dating. Now they looked angry and mean. I already told you my body is mine. Just because we got married doesn't mean you own me. You need to respect what I want. The word respect felt like he had slapped my face. When we were dating for 10 months, Marcus was so sweet and caring. He would hold me close when we watched movies, kiss me goodnight after our dates and hold my hand when we walked around Green Lake Park. But right after we came back from our honeymoon in Vancouver, where he said he was too tired every single night, everything changed. It was like someone had switched him with a different person who didn't want me to touch him at all. This isn't right, I said, feeling braver. Married people are supposed to love each other. They sleep in the same bed. They hug and kiss each other. Right? Marcus laughed in a mean way. You want to talk about what's right. What's right is respecting what your husband wants. What's right is not forcing someone to touch you when they don't want to. I looked at him and felt like the floor was moving under my feet. What he was saying sounded correct. People should say yes before touching. People should respect others. But something felt really wrong about how he was using these good ideas like weapons against his own wife. The Marcus who dated me, who said sweet things about our future, who seemed like he couldn't wait to marry me, had disappeared. Completely. When he walked out of the bedroom and left me alone with all my confusion and worry, I decided something that would change both our lives forever. Something was very wrong with my marriage, and I was going to find out what it was. The next morning, I sat at our kitchen table looking at my coffee getting cold while Marcus moved around the kitchen like a robot. He had always been neat and organized, but lately, everything he did felt strange and planned. He looked at his phone all the time, went outside to talk on phone calls, and started leaving the house for hours without telling me where he was going. I'm going to visit my mom in Portland this weekend, I said, watching him carefully to see what he would do. Marcus's hand stopped moving on his coffee cup for just a second. Then he nodded. That sounds good. How long will you be gone? Just Saturday and Sunday. Will you miss me? I asked, trying to test him. He shrugged his shoulders without looking at me. I'll be fine. Him not caring that I was leaving should have made me sad, but instead it proved what I had been thinking. Marcus seemed happy whenever I left the house. When we were dating, he hated when work trips took us apart, even for just one day. Now he almost pushed me to leave. I looked at him as he played with his phone. Marcus was definitely handsome. Tall with brown hair and those pretty blue eyes that made me notice him first at a bookstore in the city. He said he worked at a computer company, but I had never met any of the people he worked with. When I asked him about his job, he would give unclear answers about keeping secrets and not talking about clients. Marcus, I said carefully, I think we should talk to a marriage helper. This space between us isn't good for us. His head shot up fast, and for a moment I saw something scary in his eyes. Maybe panic or fear. But it went away so fast I wondered if I really saw it. We don't need help, he said firmly. We just need time to get used to being married. Not everyone becomes perfect right away. It's been 2 months, I reminded him. 2 months is nothing compared to our whole life together, he said. But his voice sounded fake, like he had practiced saying this. That afternoon, after Marcus left for what he said was a work meeting, I did something I never thought I would do. I looked through his things not because I was jealous, but because I really believed my husband was hiding secrets from me. His home office was perfectly clean, almost too clean. His desk drawers only had normal office things. His filing box had regular work papers, and his computer needed a password. But when I was about to give up, I saw something strange. In the trash can, hidden under other papers, was a receipt from a flower shop in Miami. The date was from 2 weeks ago when Marcus said he was at a work meeting in Tampa. The receipt was for 12 yellow roses, and written on the back in Marcus's handwriting was a phone number from Florida. My hands were shaking as I took a picture of the receipt with my phone. Whatever Marcus was hiding from me, I was going to find out. The man I married was telling lies, and I deserved to know the truth. That evening, I sat in my car outside the building where Marcus said he worked, watching through the big windows. I had called his supposed workplace earlier, asking to talk to Marcus Thompson, but they told me no one with that name worked there. The security man I talked to was nice but sure. He had worked there for 7 years and had never heard of Marcus. When Marcus's car came to the parking lot at 6 o'clock, I hid low in my seat, watching as he sat in his car for many minutes, talking happily on his phone. Even from far away, I could see his body language was completely different from the cold, mean man he was at home. He was smiling, laughing, even moving his hands like he was having the most wonderful talk of his life. After 20 minutes, he ended the call and walked into the building, not to an office, but to the coffee shop on the first floor. He bought a drink and sat at a corner table, taking out his laptop. For the next hour he looked like he was working, but something about it felt fake, like he was pretending. When he finally left, he threw away what looked like fake papers and drove home. I followed him from far away, my mind thinking fast. The man I married was not who he said he was. The question was, what was he hiding? And why did he marry me? When I got home 10 minutes after him, Marcus was already taking a shower. I quickly looked at his phone, which he had left charging next to the bed. It was locked, but I remembered him typing his password once, our wedding date. My heart was beating fast as I typed the numbers, and amazingly the phone opened. What I found made my blood feel like ice. Text messages with someone named Lisa filled with love words and sweet talk. Photos of Marcus with a woman I didn't know, both wearing wedding rings, standing in front of what looked like a courthouse. The newest message sent just hours ago said, "Missing you so much, honey. Can't wait to see you this weekend. This whole mess is almost finished." The shower was still running when I sent the worst photos and messages to my own phone, then carefully put Marcus's phone back where I found it. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my own phone as I looked at the proof of what seemed to be Marcus living 2 different lives. When Marcus came out of the bathroom with a towel around him and humming a happy song, I was sitting on the bed pretending to read a book. He seemed truly happy for the first time in weeks. And now I understood why. He was living 2 lives, and apparently his life with me was the one he wanted to end. "I think I'll go to sleep early tonight," I said, keeping my voice normal. "Good idea," Marcus replied, and I didn't miss how relieved he sounded. "Sleep well, Sarah." As I lay in the dark, listening to him breathing evenly next to me, I made a decision that would destroy both our lives. Tomorrow I would call a lawyer and find out exactly who I had married. The law office of Jennifer Brooks was in downtown Seattle, taking up the 20th floor of a tall, shiny building with amazing views of Puget Sound. I had picked Jennifer because people said she was really good at handling difficult divorce cases. But as I sat across from her big wooden desk, showing her the proof I had found, I realized I was dealing with something much worse than just a bad marriage. "Sarah," Jennifer said seriously as she looked at the photos on my phone, "what you're showing me suggests possible bigamy. This isn't just reasons for divorce. This could be against the law." The word bigamy hit me like someone had hit me with a baseball bat. I thought maybe he was cheating or maybe Marcus married me for my money, but I never thought he might already be married to someone else. "That's impossible," I whispered. "We have a marriage paper." We were married by a real person at the hotel. There were over 300 people watching. Jennifer nodded seriously. Your marriage is real and legal on your side, which makes Marcus's situation very bad if he's already married to someone else. Bigamy is a big crime in Washington, punishable by up to 10 years in jail. She reached for her phone. I'm going to suggest we hire a private detective right away. We need to find out if this Lisa person is really Marcus's wife. And if so, when and where they got married. If their marriage happened before yours, then your marriage doesn't count and Marcus has done a serious crime. Within hours, I found myself in the office of Detective Susan Park, a former police officer who now worked as a private detective specializing in marriage lies cases. She was a small woman in her 40s with smart eyes and a direct way of talking that made me feel better immediately. I've seen cases like this before, she said, taking notes as I told her my story. The pattern is usually the same. The bad person finds wealthy targets, dates them quickly, rushes into marriage, and then tries to get their money before running away. Not wanting to be close is a warning sign. Many of these criminals avoid touching because it makes leaving harder. But Marcus seemed so real when we were dating, I said. He was romantic and sweet. He seemed to really love me. Detective Park looked at me with kind eyes. These people are really good at tricking others, Sarah. They study their targets carefully, learn their interests, their backgrounds, their weak spots. They become whoever they think you want them to be. She took out a contract. I need you to understand that what we might find could be very hurtful. Are you ready for the chance that everything about your relationship was a lie? I thought about the past 2 months of confusion and rejection. About the cold stranger sleeping next to me. About the phone calls and mysterious trips. Whatever the truth was, it couldn't be worse than not knowing what was happening. I need to know, I said firmly. Whatever it takes. Detective Park nodded and started explaining her investigation plan. She would begin by doing complete background checks on Marcus Thompson, looking for marriage records in many states, and trying to find and locate Lisa. She would also investigate Marcus's claimed job and money history. One more thing, she said, giving me a small recording machine. If Marcus admits anything or makes threats, we need them recorded. Washington allows one person to record conversations they're part of without the other person knowing. As I left the detective's office, the small recording machine felt heavy in my bag. I was about to start an investigation that would either save my marriage or completely destroy it. But for the first time in weeks, I felt like I was taking control of my life instead of being a victim of Marcus's tricks. That evening, I watched Marcus across the dinner table, studying his face for any sign of the man I thought I had fallen in love with. He seemed relaxed, almost happy, making small talk about his day while I slowly ate my soup. Every smile, every casual comment, every moment of seeming normalcy now felt like a big show designed to trick me. When he excused himself to take a phone call in his office, I turned on the recording device and followed him, standing outside the door. I know, sweetheart. I miss you too. Marcus's voice came through the thin office door, soft and loving in a way I hadn't heard since our honeymoon. This whole situation is harder than I thought, but I promise it'll be finished soon. I pressed closer to the door, my heart pounding as I listened to what was clearly a loving conversation with another woman. No, she doesn't know anything, Marcus continued. She's actually making it easier by staying away from me. I think she's planning to ask for a divorce, which would fix all our problems. Once the papers are signed, I can get the money and move everything before she knows what happened. The casual meanness in his voice made my stomach hurt. He was talking about me like I was nothing more than a business deal. Problem to fix. The marriage contract was brilliant, he continued. She was so in love she barely looked at it. If she asks for divorce within the first year, she gets nothing, but I get half of any money she brought into the marriage. That includes the trust fund her grandfather left her. I had to hold on to the door frame to keep from falling down. The marriage contract Marcus had insisted on, saying it would protect both our interests, was actually designed to steal all my money. He had tricked me into signing away my own inheritance. I love you too, Lisa, Marcus said, his voice becoming quiet and sweet. Tell me about your day. How was work? For the next 10 minutes, I listened to Marcus have the kind of loving, caring conversation I had desperately wanted from him. He asked about Lisa's job as a teacher in Miami, remembered details about her students, made plans for their weekend together. He was everything to her that he refused to be to me. When he finally ended the call, I quietly went back to the living room and turned off the recording device, my hands shaking as I understood what I had just learned. Marcus hadn't just married me while already married to someone else. He had planned a big lie designed to steal my inheritance. The contract, his refusal to be close, even his encouragement of my independence, were all part of a careful plan to rob me and disappear. The next morning, while Marcus was supposedly at work, Detective Park called with her first findings. I have good news and bad news, she said. The bad news is that Marcus Thompson married Lisa Garcia in Miami 10 months ago, 3 months before he asked you to marry him. Their marriage is completely legal and documented. My worst fears were confirmed, but Detective Park continued. The good news is that this makes your case simple. Marcus committed bigamy when he married you, and the proof you recorded last night shows he planned to commit marriage lies. We have enough to file criminal charges and cancel your marriage contract based on lies. What happens now? I asked, feeling strangely calm despite how big this discovery was. Now we set a trap, Detective Park said. Based on the conversation you recorded, Marcus is planning to get your trust fund money soon. We need to catch him actually doing it. Are you willing to let this continue a little longer to gather more proof? I thought about the man who had swept me off my feet with romantic actions and promises of forever, who had turned out to be a criminal using me for my money while loving someone else. The betrayal hurt deeper than I could have imagined. But under the pain was something harder and more determined. Yes, I said firmly. Let's catch this liar. Detective Park had been careful in setting up watching, but what she discovered over the next week was even worse than she expected. Marcus wasn't just a bigamist. He was part of a bigger pattern of marriage lies that had been going on for years. We found at least 4 other women in different states who married men matching Marcus's description, Detective Park explained during our meeting at Jennifer's office. Same method. Quick dating, fast marriage, access to money, then disappearing. We think Marcus and Lisa work as a team. The watching photos she showed me were heartbreaking. Marcus and Lisa at dinner in Miami, holding hands and laughing. Marcus going in and out of an apartment that was clearly their shared home. Most damaging of all, photos of them at a bank where Lisa waited in the car while Marcus went inside with what looked like money papers. He's been using your marriage certificate and fake documents to make himself look like your legal husband at banks, Jennifer explained. The plan seems to be to empty your accounts and then ask for divorce under the marriage contract, claiming you were unfaithful or left the marriage. How is that possible? Yes. I would have seen money missing from my accounts. Detective Park took out another folder. He's been smarter than that. He's opened new accounts using your social security number and marriage certificate, then asked for credit lines against your trust fund. He hasn't touched your existing accounts yet because that would set off immediate alarms. But he's created a shadow money identity that he can empty all at once. How big his lies were took my breath away. Marcus had been planning this for months, maybe even before we met. Every romantic action, every declaration of love, every moment of seeming happiness had been planned to trick me into the perfect position to be robbed. There's something else, Detective Park said, looking serious. Lisa isn't just his wife. She's his cousin. The room felt like it was spinning around me. What? Lisa Garcia was born Lisa Thompson. They've been running marriage lie schemes together for at least 6 years. She provides believability to his operations by playing the role of the loving wife back home while he targets wealthy women in other states. Felt physically sick. The loving phone calls I had heard, the declarations of love, the romantic photos. It was all part of a disgusting criminal partnership that made my skin crawl. Jennifer leaned forward. Sarah, we have enough proof to destroy them both. Marcus will face federal charges for mail lies, wire lies, bigamy, and identity theft. Lisa will be charged as a helper. But we need to catch them actually getting your money. How do we do that? Detective Park smiled grimly. We give them what they want. You're going to ask for divorce just as Marcus hopes, but instead of using his contract to rob you, we're going to use it to trap him. The plan was beautiful in how simple it was. I would ask for divorce, saying we couldn't get along, playing the role of the heartbroken wife who just wanted out of the marriage. Marcus would feel confident that his plan was working and would move quickly to access the money accounts he had set up. Federal agents would be waiting for him. Are you ready for this? Jennifer asked. Once we start this, there's no going back. Marcus will be arrested, and the truth about your marriage will become public record. I thought about the past 3 months of confusion and rejection, about the big lies and tricks, about the trust fund my grandfather had left me being used as bait in a criminal scheme. I'm ready, I said. Let's end this fake marriage once and for all. The King County Courthouse was busy with activity on the morning I filed for divorce, but I felt strangely calm as I walked up the steps with Jennifer beside me. Detective Park had positioned herself across the street, ready to alert the federal agents once Marcus took the bait. I had given Marcus divorce papers the night before, playing the part of the heartbroken wife who couldn't handle the distance in our marriage any longer. His reaction had been perfect: surprise, hurt, and then resigned acceptance that made my skin crawl with how fake it was. I'm sorry it's come to this, he had said, pulling me into what I now recognized as a calculated hug. I know I haven't been the husband you deserved. Maybe some time apart will help us both figure out what we really want. The recording device in my pocket had captured every lying word. Now, as Jennifer filed the paperwork that would officially dissolve my fake marriage, my phone buzzed with a text from Detective Park. He's moving. Entered Wells Fargo Bank downtown with Lisa. Federal agents in position. My heart raced as I imagined Marcus finally making his move, probably feeling confident that his plan had worked perfectly. He thought he was about to walk away with my inheritance while leaving me with nothing but a fake contract and a broken heart. It's done, Jennifer said, handing me copies of the divorce filing. According to Washington law, he has 30 days to respond. But something tells me he won't get the chance. My phone buzzed again. Package delivered. Both subjects in custody. You can go home, Sarah. It's over. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe freely. The man who had tricked and lied to me, who had planned to rob me and disappear, was finally facing the results of his crimes. The court hearing was held 3 weeks later in federal court, and I sat in the audience watching as Marcus and Lisa were led into the courtroom wearing orange jail clothes and chains. Marcus's confident attitude had completely fallen apart. His face was pale, his hands shook, and he kept looking around the courtroom like he couldn't believe where he had ended up. The defendants, Marcus James Thompson and Lisa Marie Garcia, are charged with conspiracy to commit mail fraud, wire fraud, identity theft, and bigamy, the prosecutor announced. The government claims that the defendants operated a criminal business targeting wealthy women for fake marriages designed to steal their money. When Marcus's eyes found mine across the courtroom, I saw the exact moment he realized that I had known about his scheme all along. The shock on his face was quickly replaced by something closer to panic as the full weight of his situation hit him. Your Honor, Marcus's court-appointed lawyer said, my client says he's innocent and asks for bail consideration. The prosecutor stood up immediately. Your Honor, Mr. Thompson is a flight risk who has shown a pattern of creating fake identities and fraudulent relationships. The government asks that he be held without bail. Lisa sat beside him, tears streaming down her face as she realized their criminal partnership was over. The loving phone calls, the romantic photographs, the big deception that had been their way of life. It was all evidence now, proof of a disturbing criminal conspiracy that would put them both in prison for years. The judge's voice was stern as he refused bail for both defendants. The evidence presented suggests a sophisticated criminal business that poses a continued danger to the community. Both defendants will stay in jail until trial. As the officers led Marcus away, he looked back at me one final time, his face showing complete defeat and disbelief that his perfect plan had destroyed him completely. Marcus Thompson received a 15-year federal sentence for his role in the marriage fraud conspiracy, while Lisa received 10 years for her part as a helper. The investigation showed they had stolen nearly $3 million from victims across 8 states. Money that was recovered and returned to the women they had targeted. Their criminal business collapsed completely when other victims came forward, inspired by my case to seek justice for their own experiences with the cousins' manipulative schemes. Marcus's reputation was permanently destroyed when news coverage made him notorious as one of the most calculating marriage predators in recent memory, ensuring he would never again be able to trick vulnerable women seeking genuine love. I celebrated my legal victory quietly, having dinner with my mom and close friends who had supported me through the investigation and trial. Looking back on my journey from confused newlywed to determined survivor, I realized that Marcus's betrayal, as devastating as it was, had taught me to trust my gut feelings and fight for myself when something felt wrong. The revenge I had sought wasn't just about punishing him. It was about taking back my power and making sure that no other woman would fall victim to his lies. 6 months later, I moved to a beautiful apartment overlooking Elliott Bay, finally free from the shadow of Marcus's deception. The trust fund my grandfather had left me remained intact, protected by the very investigation that had exposed Marcus's crimes. I started volunteering with organizations that helped victims of marriage fraud, using my experience to help other women recognize the warning signs of predatory relationships. The man who had tried to destroy my life had inadvertently given me a purpose, protecting others from the same devastating betrayal I had endured. Every morning when I wake up in my own space, surrounded by my own things and my own choices, I'm reminded that sometimes the worst things that happen to us can become the source of our greatest strength. Marcus thought he could use my trust and love against me, but in the end, those same qualities helped me find the courage to fight back and win. The phrase, "my body, my choice," will forever remind me not of his manipulation, but of my own power to choose justice over victimhood, truth over lies, and strength over fear. Today I'm happily single, focused on my career and the meaningful relationships in my life. I've learned that real love doesn't hide in shadows or operate through deception. It grows in the light of honesty, trust, and mutual respect. Marcus and Lisa remain in federal prison, their names forever associated with one of the most extensive marriage fraud cases in Washington state history. As for me, I'm no longer the naive woman who trusted too easily. I'm a survivor who learned that sometimes the greatest act of self-love is refusing to accept anything less than the truth. And that, more than any revenge, is the real victory. Subscribe to Astonished JNR for more incredible true stories. Globe showing Europe Africa sparkles. Drop a comment below with the country you're watching from along with your flag. I'd love to know where my amazing viewers are tuning in from. Don't forget to like, share, and invite your friends to join the family.